Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. And if you could hit that like button, I'd appreciate that as well. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube, or outside of YouTube, you could consider joining the Discord I created or the Facebook I created. There's links for those down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That is a great place for you guys to check out the different meals and recipes I've been enjoying as I've been working towards my weight loss goals. Today is day 1020. Is that right? Oh my, I don't even know. 1020, I think, of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. Yeah. And so far, through a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I have been able to lose 270 pounds. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you're struggling with your diet, let us know what's causing some of your struggles. Maybe it's something we can help you out with. If you're succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. Share your success with all of us. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing or that you can do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead, switch over to the main screen here. I'm a little behind on getting my phone connected to go over food, but I hope everybody had a wonderful day and has a wonderful evening coming up, I guess. So yesterday was a little relaxed. I talked about, I ended up having just some time with the kids, just me and my two youngest kids. We hung out a little bit, played around, did some wrestling, lots of different things they like to do. They walked on the ceiling, all kinds of fun stuff that we do when we horse around at home. After we did that for a while, we just relaxed and hung out. But just really, that's a huge non-scale victory for me, though, that playing with my kids. It's something that I had done when I was 520 pounds. I tried to be a fun dad and interact with them and roll around and wrestle and lift them up because, I was strong and I could do those things. But I would fizzle out within minutes of doing something with them, or I would, in my mind and looking back at it now, realize that I would be very strategic about the things I was doing with them. Many times it would be me on my knees. And so it was a little bit easier for me versus being on my feet to pick them up and roll around with them. And do more, like, I guess, things on the ground, wrestling around, because it was just easier for me if I was laying on my side or my back and they were wrestling with me just laying there. And now I don't have to do that. I can stand up and play with them and pick them up and carry them over to the couch and drop them, and not just do it once, but do it for 20 minutes or a half an hour. And in the past, if they got 5 or 10 minutes of playtime with me, I guess we were lucky, because I would just get so winded, or I would, all right, dad's tired, let's go do something else. And now it takes a lot longer for me to get to the point where I say, all right, dad's tired, let's do something else. And that's a huge victory. I mean, that's a huge part of why I started this. And it frustrates me that I didn't start sooner, but I want my kids to remember me as a fun dad or somebody that did everything. Puppy Mom MC just subscribed. Thanks so much. Speaking of that, I was going to talk about it later, but since you popped up on the screen here, I want to thank you guys so much for all of the support that you've given me over the past 1,020 days. I don't know what clicked in the past couple weeks on the YouTube algorithm, but I did have a bunch more subscribers recently. And so I've reached 2,000 subscribers, which for me, that's awesome. When I started this channel, I didn't know if I would even get 10 people to watch me. And even if I got those 10 people to watch me, if I would ever keep going, if I would be able to get to the point where I can say I'm on day 1,020, and having all of you subscribers and everybody that watches my show, you know, my videos regularly or joins me on these live streams, I just got to thank you so much, because the accountability that has been created because of this platform has kept me going. And it might be one of the things that I was missing, or, you know, accountability was always one of my keys to success. Like if you would have said before I started this, what are some things you think you need to have a successful diet? Accountability would have been one of those things. When I was on diets, I did find additional success by going to a program like Weight Watchers, where you had that weekly meeting and weigh-in check-in. I thrived for that kind of accountability. And in 2013, I was losing weight. I was seeing a doctor. I was taking medication, but part of that program was coming to a Thursday night meeting, like a weekly meeting where we would weigh in and we would talk about things more specific to what that diet was, and not like Weight Watchers, but it was similar. And again, I thrived. I loved being in that environment where I was held accountable. And so when I decided to start this weight loss challenge and to use YouTube as my accountability, I was hoping that it would give me that accountability, and it did. And it's been because you guys check in, you guys, you know, hold my feet to the fire sometimes, I guess, when I'm not doing the best, but it keeps me going. And so thank you for, was it Puppy Mom MC, for subscribing, and thank you guys all, you know, 2,000 plus of you that have subscribed to my channel. So I really appreciate that a lot. Let's see. Cindy here says, yay, you deserve it and more. Pretty Gross Mom was checking in as well. And then Matthew here says, those kids are a great motivator. Absolutely. I kind of got sidetracked. I'm going to go back to that. They need their daddy around as long as possible. Thanks, Matt. You should have zillions of subscribers. That would be great. Yeah. Kids are a great motivator. And, you know, I want them to, like I said, I want them to remember me as being a fun and healthy dad. You know, and I feel like, you know, that regret I talk about every time at the end, that nobody, you know, everybody wishes they would have started sooner. And I absolutely wish I would have started sooner, so that my older kids would have had the same dad that my younger kids have now. And they're only a couple years apart. It's not like there's a huge gap, but when, you know, I guess it's kind of getting to that time that, like, so I have 4 kids. We have 2 kids. We have a kid that's 11, a kid that's 10, and then we have twins that are 6. And our twins are now getting to the age that my older kids were when we started, or it's getting close. At least my daughter, maybe not my son. It'll be another maybe 18 months till his. But I missed that 18 months. That 3 years. The that if I would have done this sooner, then I could have been that active dad that I am now. And my kids are obviously benefiting from that. They're still at home. They're only 11, so it's not like it's a big deal. And realistically, when I get to a healthy weight here, when my kids are 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 years old and I'm still a healthy weight, they're not going to remember me as a fat dad. And that's my hope, is to get thin and to just be a regular sized dad, and I know that, I don't know direct, but I'm pretty sure that my kids have been negatively impacted by my weight because their peers see how big their dad is and make comments about that type of thing. And I'm sure I did the same thing when I was 10 years old and I saw that my, classmates' parents were overweight, that we would make comments or we would notice those things. And I never wanted that to be that way for my kids. But yeah, so they're a huge motivator, and getting to play with them last night and kind of be that fun dad was awesome. And so I'm happy that I was able to do that. And that was my non-scale victory for the day here. I did all that work to get my phone ready to show off my food since yesterday. And then I didn't get it. I don't know if I got, let me see. I got a few photos here, not many. Oh, okay. Well, trying to think if I didn't eat that much today. Anyways, I'm going to pull it up. So last night, we had some of the leftover Spanish rice and mushrooms. Carrie made a lot of it because you're going to see another photo of it here. And then this morning had the standard the standard oatmeal with spinach, mushrooms, and onions. And then I can't remember if I had broccoli. I don't think I ate broccoli after that, but I did have some more of the Spanish rice with mushrooms today for lunch. Carrie had brought the leftovers of this in, and then she also cooked some potatoes. They did not look the best. I've gotten snobby with my potatoes, and I need to go back and eat some russet potatoes just to get acclimated to them again. We kind of stick to the golden potato. That seems to be our favorite potato. It cooks really easy. It's easy to mash up. It's almost like, what do we call it? Carrie calls them like mashed potato bombs. That, sometimes we even just eat the cooked potato like it's an apple because we enjoy them so much. But we had russet potatoes today, and we had that rice. And between the two, I decided to go with the rice, and I enjoyed it a lot. Things have been going good with the diet. I still do have the swelling and a little bit of joint pain, but it is going down and going away, which I'm happy that is the case. I know that, I'm already starting to feel better. Just shortly before I started the live stream, I was walking through the office and just kind of, I don't know. It's weird how I just feel it on the inside, just like things are, going to where they're supposed to be. And returning to normal, which makes me very happy because I need to get back to normal. It's been an interesting couple months, but I'm glad that it's working out here. See, Matthew here says, I'm 63. If I'd have known John McDougall 30 years ago, I might have done it so much sooner. Maybe not. Thank God it really took when it did. Thank God you've done what you have. The only thing we have is today. Yes. Absolutely. You have to be thankful whenever you find this way of eating or this, whenever you find wherever you're at in life, if you can find that healthfulness of it and just being a healthier person, it added, it added so many years to the end of my life that I've talked about it in the past, and it's kind of a morbid thought, but there's a chance that had I not made these changes when I did, that I suffer from a heart attack, a stroke, some sort of, issue, severe issues with diabetes. I was not in a good place with my overall health. And so I really feel like every day that I get is an extra day. It's crazy. It's because I'm only 40 years old, and I know I have years and years and years ahead of me, but I was so close to not. I was so close to being just another, oh yeah, I'm surprised that didn't happen sooner, or oh, that's so sad, he was so young and he had those kids, like we hear that many times. So I'm so thankful that I have today, and I can only control what I do today, and I can't change what I did yesterday, and you cannot predict how tomorrow's going to go. You can, because life just throws curveballs at you. And that was the first, for me, the first curveball I hit was really in, I guess it would have been July of 2021. That was about 10 months into this challenge. Everything was going great. And then just doing a simple task, I tear my bicep tendon and completely change what I couldn't have predicted that was going to happen the day before. And when it happened, I couldn't predict how that was going to affect the days coming forward, because it was completely new. I lost control of the life that I had complete control over. And while I had complete control over my life, I lost a huge amount of weight. I water fasted, and I was down, I was 520 to 340 to 320. Yeah. So it was 200 pounds down within the first year. It was really 200 pounds down within the first 10 months. And, I had control. I was 200 pounds down because I had complete control over every day and every decision I made and everything that happened, and I controlled my environment. And then I tear my bicep tendon, and it totally shook everything up. And in the past, every single diet I've ever done in the past would have died the day that I tore my distal bicep tendon in 2021. But this diet didn't. And it's because I wasn't starving myself. I was eating an abundance of food. And I still got to eat an abundance of food. Oh no, you got hurt. Oh, okay. I'm gonna whatever eat because of the pain. Okay. I'm gonna eat two more potatoes, another scoop of rice, a couple extra, handfuls of spinach, like staying compliant on the diet. It got me through that. And, I stalled for a little bit at that time, but anybody would have stalled when they had something like that happened. And, um, I truly believe that eating this way caused my recovery to be faster than I've ever recovered from anything. And I've had lots of surgeries. I should have an orthopedic surgeon on retainer. Or at least I should have through my youth. And I I healed fast. I've always had a tendency to heal fast, but with the injuries I've had since changing to this diet, it's been amazing. Um, and anyways, yeah, you can't control today. You can't even control an hour from now. So all you have is right now. So you have to appreciate that, and you have to do your best to give yourself the best future, and hurting yourself now isn't going to give yourself a better future. Um, Another thing I wanted to talk about today was change your environment. That's the topic here. This morning, I got up and I was scrolling through my YouTube feed, and I came across a video. I think it was probably from Dr. Fuhrman's his YouTube page, but it was about the headline was something fast food. But the hook of the video, what they showed right away at the beginning, and then also what he got into later in the video, was really kind of caught me. It really it's something that it just resonated with me. And he said that when he goes to different conferences and different events or lectures that he does, he asks the audience some questions, and he asks them if anybody knows anybody who's ever been stabbed before, like stabbed or cut with a knife, like near a vital part of the neck or the face. And in a crowd of people, maybe one or two people might raise their hands. And then he asked if anybody knows anybody that had been shot with a bullet or shot at, or injured because of a gunshot wound. And again, really just a couple people raised their hands. Not many people had experience with that or knew somebody who had that experience. But then he asked if anybody knew anybody who had suffered from heart disease or stroke or cancer. And the whole room essentially raises their hand, because almost everybody knows somebody who has been affected by heart disease, or stroke or cancer or even diabetes. He didn't say it in the video, but we know people that have had catastrophic results, and we're afraid of the knives, we're afraid of the bullets, but we surround ourselves with the things that cause heart disease and cause high blood pressure and cancer, and we just act like it's normal. And he said that if you lived in a neighborhood where people were dying because of gunshot wounds, you would move. And we're living in neighborhoods now that people are dying of heart disease and all these other things. And it's not move, but it's change the environment that you're in, change the food that you eat. It's like my buffet table analogy. Our diet is a buffet of food that's in front of us. Whatever foods you consider acceptable foods, imagine that those foods are all on a buffet table in front of you. And the foods I used to eat, all of the foods in front of me used to cause these diseases. These are diseases of excess, like they talk about. And we need to change our environment. You need to move, not actually, well, maybe, but you need to clean out your pantry, your cupboards, your refrigerators, your storage rooms. You need to refill them with an abundance of healthy foods. That's the problem. Everybody talks about clearing their pantry, and they clear the pantry, but you have to replace it. And you have to put more food back in there than you took out. And every other diet I've been on, that's not been the case. It's just been take a bunch of food out and just put a little bit back in. And you won't succeed on a plant-based diet unless you eat a large volume of food. Cindy here says that they were 14 months into whole food plant-based diet and then had a total hip replacement. You just stayed focused on eating this way for health and healing. Absolutely. The scars I have from the surgeries since starting to eat this way healed amazing. I felt healthy going in. I felt like I was eating as healthy as possible going in. So continuing to eat as healthy as possible was going to help me, heal faster and continue to stay healthy. And that was something that was great. Like I was already in such a healthful state going in that I was able to stay in that healthful state. Hey, Karen. Hi. Hope everything's doing great for you today. Matt here says that he had a stroke on March 26th. The standard American diet got him there. The diet got me out of it. He's never felt better, not even close. At 63 years old, since March, when did you switch to eating this way? I know you've probably told me, but that's amazing. That you're feeling better now after a stroke than you did prior to the stroke. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some residual effects from having a stroke, but to be saying you feel better than ever, it's a crazy testament. And I feel the same way. I didn't have a stroke, but I feel healthier than I ever remember feeling. When I was in high school, I was the same weight. I graduated. When I graduated high school, I was heavier than I am now. I really haven't been this weight since I was like a freshman in high school. And I feel better. Definitely feel better than I did when I was a freshman in high school. I was very overweight and not very strong as a freshman. But I was always, the only reason I was as light as I was, which was still 250 to 275 pounds, was because of how active there's, what was I saying? Oh my gosh, I totally lost my train of thought. Healthy. Oh, I was only that weight because I was so active. I was only under 275 pounds because that was the weight limit to allow me to still wrestle in high school. And so as soon as the activity ended, the weight went up. But I was, I never felt healthy. I could probably do physical activity and I could stress myself for, the length of a football game or a wrestling match or practices. But I don't ever remember feeling as healthy as I feel now. And that's pretty crazy. And definitely since high school, once I quit being active and was eating such a horrible diet, I just, it was up and up and up, and I'm trying to even think of back to the times when I lost weight. The lowest I ever was able to get was 285 pounds, and that was a decade ago. Again, I was eating horrible, really just horrible, worst diet ever. But I was taking an appetite suppressant, so I could, I don't know. Oh yeah, I was starving myself on that diet. It was just because I was taking an appetite suppressant. Everything I ate was processed foods. It was Kit Kats and Pringles and like sausages, like rope sausages. And it really was not a good diet. And, I don't think I was working out that much at that time. But the times where I have done workouts and hired trainers to lose weight, again, I feel healthier now. I feel healthier now than I ever have in my life. And I should probably feel healthier because I am the lightest I've ever been as an adult. The another weird thing too is like being able to feel my joints and my bones. It's something that I never really knew that I wasn't able to do, and now that I can feel, and really the most predominant is my hip bones. I can actually feel like the outline of my entire hip bone. And that is new to me, which seems crazy. And it's been cool. The first places I noticed it were like my collarbone and my shoulders, but now it's been more, getting to my hips and my ribs. Just being able to feel the skeleton that's underneath my body is amazing. Years ago, me and Carrie had gone to this exhibit that was like these human bodies that were they were on display showing the different systems in the body, the cardiovascular system and the musculatory system. And I can't remember the name of, but it was a big exhibit. I think they went all through the country. And one of the things they showed, and I've seen it other places too, is like the silhouette of a body that is grossly overweight, and how the bones are still where they should be if that person was thin, but then there's just all of this fat around that skeletal structure. And I always thought that was crazy. Like there was that thin version of me inside underneath all of this skin and fat. Let's see here. Matt here says that he's a walking miracle, so blessed. Yes, Matt, absolutely. Cindy here says, happy to see you're doing well. Yeah, that's awesome that you're doing great and that you've really found this healthfulness of this diet. It's let me see. I was talking about bones, and then I was going to talk about another thing here. Or just how there's a thin version of me still underneath here. I'm not too far away from totally unlocking it. There's going to be some loose skin that's blocking the view, but I'll be okay with that. Another thing that I was going to talk about was also from that Fuhrman video, and it's kind of me talking about the thinner version of myself made me think about that, what he talked about in the video. And he really talks about how all of at least the US and probably a lot of the world population, but the entire population is really overweight or unhealthy. And the statistics that they put out there where they say that, 70% of Americans are overweight. He talks about some of those statistics, and he kind of talks about, even back in the 1920s, people were on average a little overweight, but now, we fast forward 100 years and they say that 70% of the population is overweight. And what he mentions, or what he talks about with that, is that they had to pick a line to say, okay, if you're over this percentage of body fat, then you're overweight. And the line that they picked was 25%. So if you're over 25%, or the statistic where they say that 70% of Americans are overweight, comes from being over a BMI of 25%. And he talks about in the video that 25% is still high for a BMI. That, like, in nature, our species would walk around with a BMI of like 15 to 20%. But anyways, so if he were in what they recommend, what he's talking about is that they actually recommend that you should be under a BMI of 22.5%. And if they were to move that line from 25% over to 22.5%, that it would actually go from our population being 70% overweight to our population being 89% of people are over 22.5% BMI. And that only leaves 11% of our population at a healthy weight, which is wild. That, to be at a healthy weight, you're in essentially the top 10% of people. We got to be one of the only species in the world that's the case, right? Like if only 10% of deer were a healthy weight, or 10% of wolves were a healthy weight, that they wouldn't survive very long. They wouldn't be able to keep going very long. But then what he says is, now if you take that 11%, what you also have to factor in is that there's a large portion of that 11% that are people that are a healthy weight because they're sick. There's people that have, he mentioned alcoholics are generally underweight. He also mentioned people that have type 1 diabetes are generally underweight, and all kinds of other health conditions that people have that make it so they can't eat, or they have digestive issues, or they just don't gain weight. So if you look at that 11%, part of that is people that are a healthy weight, but they're not healthy. And so to actually be a healthy weight kind of puts you in like this, to be a healthy weight and also be healthy really puts us in this very small category. That Monique here says that we are the only species that has food factories. Yeah, I mean, right. Well, it's that create their own food factories. And this is just an anteater popped into my head. An anteater coming over and eating the ant factory. It's not a factory, but made me think of. But yes, we're the only species that has food factories. Rachel J checking in says, hope you're doing well. Hope you are doing well as well, Rachel. Thank you, Matt, for the kind words. Cindy here says there's a lot of factors leading to being overweight: food deserts, poverty, the pleasure trap, lack of nutritional knowledge, subsidized meat and dairy that ends up in the fast foods, and on and on. Absolutely. We are essentially those stats that I just talked about. And I don't know if I didn't listen if he gave percentages of how many of that 11% of people were unhealthy. But what was that? Just leading to me all right. That it's scarce. Being healthy in our current environment is a scarcity. And the reason why it's a scarcity is because it's nearly impossible to do with all of those things you just said: food deserts, poverty, pleasure trap, lack of nutrition, subsidized meat and dairy, fast foods. All of that stuff is the environment that has been created around us. And it's very much a product of capitalism. I don't know that it could have been, if it was going to get changed, it would have had to have been changed decades ago. And so now we are stuck in this impossible world that we have to work hard. It's not easy to be a healthy weight. If it was easy to be a healthy weight, then there'd be more people, but there's less than 10% of the people in this world that are healthy and at a healthy weight. Or at least in this country. And so Carrie's checking in, says, Eep, sorry I'm so late, but you're still here. Thanks for joining. It's, if it was easy, then there'd be more people that were healthy. But it's tough, and it gets tougher every single day. Every day that a processed food wins over a whole natural food, it gets tougher. And every day you make that choice to eat a processed food over a whole natural food, you help create the problem. It's kind of the same with the vegan argument, but it's supply and demand. The reason why you can buy 12 packs of Hot Pockets and you can buy, I don't know, 20-pound sacks of junk food. The reason why you can walk in and buy all of this junk, these bags that are, huge full of potato chips, is because people buy them. If people weren't buying the junk food, the manufacturers would stop producing the junk food. and they would start producing the things that you do eat. And so it's kind of what I like going in, like if I'm in a gas station and maybe buying a banana or an apple, buying something that, to help, because everything you buy in the huge scheme of things is recorded. That convenience store knows the exact number of Skittles that it sold, or bags of Skittles, maybe not individual number of Skittles, but maybe even to that extent, it's that regulated and that counted. But they know how many bags of Skittles they sold, or how many bags of tortilla chips, or how many egg rolls they sold, or corn dogs they sold from their hot thing. They know the exact number, and they make their purchasing decisions based off their sales. So the reason why our shelves are filled with all of this crap is because people have been buying it, because it feeds into the pleasure trap. It's so full of salt, oil, and sugar. All of this stuff is just chocked full of it, and it's killing us, just, and we're letting it do it. We're letting it become the normal to eat processed foods. I don't know the history of things, I don't know the exact dates of things, but I'd be, like 200 years ago, which isn't that long ago, people weren't eating at restaurants on a regular basis or at all. Probably even 100 years ago, if you went to a restaurant, it was a very fancy thing to have happen. Like, food was scarce enough, and then to have to pay somebody to serve it to you and cook it for you and all this other stuff, it didn't exist. The restaurant industries didn't exist. And especially, and even if they did, it wasn't in the capacity that they do now. It wasn't to feed an entire population. Like, that's something where there's probably statistics on it too, but the percentage of families that eat out every single meal has skyrocketed over the past, probably even the past 20 years, but the past 50 years. Everybody is letting other people control their food. Everybody's going to a restaurant and getting their food out. And it is, it's a huge contributing factor into why our whole population is gaining weight. And so I guess at the end, really what I'm just saying is that it's tough. It's tough to be a healthy weight. It's tough to get to a healthy weight. It's nearly impossible, with the, and I think of, that 10% or less of people that are healthy and at a healthy weight. How hard are they working at being that healthy and at a healthy weight? Are they supplementing their poor diet with exercise and activity, like to keep them at that healthy weight? And so much of it can be done through diet, and it has to be done through diet. I think that that's what people are missing, is they think that they can out exercise a bad diet. Cindy here says that if you're a senior, you should check out your local chapter of Meals on Wheels Theirs gives out free fresh vegetables of your choice, a whole grocery bag full weekly. They offer wholesale prices on local produce. I'll have to hit up the seniors I know in my life and have them pick me up fresh veggies at a discount, you know. Um, but they should be eating them themselves and not giving them to me. But yes, any ability you can find to get healthy food for cheaper, do it. And try to buy local stuff. It just got me thinking of, I watched a documentary a while back where they talked about how fruits and vegetables, right when they're picked, taste different than they do when they finally get to you at the store a couple of weeks later. And it's something that this year, we have a couple apple trees in our yard, and one of our apple trees this year just flourished. Just amazing. Never seen more apples on the tree, which has been really cool. And the neat thing though is like having a fresh apple, like just picked off the tree. It's so sweet and just crisp and just fresh. And not that the apples that we get from the store aren't fresh, but it's a noticeable difference. And I feel like I've noticed that with the sweet corn that we had over the summer here, that we had been eating sweet corn from the grocery store that was shipped here. But then once the local crop came in, just a different level of taste just because it's fresher. So yes, getting local produce is awesome. I think I kind of talked about everything I wanted to talk about today. Again, I want to thank you guys for helping me get over 2,000 subscribers. It has been over 1,000 days to get to 2,000 subscribers, but I had no expectation. I really didn't going into this, and it's definitely exceeded my expectations. I didn't know if I would see day 1,000, and I'm so happy that I have. I really didn't. I didn't know that I would be sitting here talking to you about eating a plant-based diet 1,000 days ago. But here I am, toting the benefits of eating a whole food plant-based diet, and you should check it out if you haven't tried it yet. So thanks guys for getting me over. Don't stop subscribing now, because the next goal is going to be, let's say 2,100. Let's not set it too high, right? No, it's 5,000 subscribers is the next big goal, right? So definitely keep hitting that like button. If you feel inclined to share the videos, go ahead, share the videos. Yes, Carrie missed that. She says, woohoo. Yes, I talked about that earlier in the stream. I hit 2,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate that. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed, get subscribed. If you haven't clicked the bell icon, click the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. And there's nobody who reaches their goals, looks back, and wishes they would have waited. So get started right now. I will talk to you guys later.